It's driving me mental. I swear Liverpool aren't actually that good. Florian Wirtz is having a really tough time physically in the Premier League. You know, defensively they've looked suspect. Their midfield does not look solid, but they are finding ways to win. Whether it's a Dominic Szoboszlai super free kick against Arsenal, which of course was a bailout from an open play game that wasn't going for them. Arsenal heavily criticised for not going at this Liverpool team that is seemingly flawed right now. You know, Rio and Gamora, the teenager, coming off the bench and scoring a winner in, what was it, the 100th minute in another game. And indeed, here we are again after they're facing Burnley. 10-man Burnley towards the end, defending for their lives, and freaking that kid that was from Man United, Hannibal, I mean the other kid from Chelsea as well, Legally Gachukwu, got a needless second yellow, sent off down to 10 men, but it looked like they could do it. Right into the dying embers, the dying seconds of stoppage time, and the narrative gods have come down again to just make sure Liverpool win another game. Am I bitter? Yes. Do Liverpool deserve credit for just finding a way all the ways? Yes. Hannibal sticks the Burnley player, the Hannibal, as soon as he turns his back on the ball, puts his arm up in the air, the ball hits his arm, he knows exactly what he's done, and in a game that had 5 minutes stoppage time, Salah converts a 95th minute penalty to ensure a 1-0 win for Liverpool. It's a real sickener. I want to get into it a little bit. I'm looking at their stats on my phone now. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I've been away for a little bit, so I've returned. Thanks for hanging out with me. I am still going to upload every day here on the channel, so everyone's welcome. If you want to support the content, drop a like on this video and subscribe. We are very much on the road to 20,000 subscribers, so I'd be very grateful if you do subscribe and if you choose to hit the bell. So this was Burnley at Turf Moor, Scott Parker's Burnley. It's a 5-4-1 formation. Very defensively robust. Anthony, the forward, looked good. Cullen in midfield. A couple of the defenders. But Florian Wirtz, man, dropping. So this is what's driving me crazy. Florian... Alexander... Liverpool bowl up, yeah? They're playing Dominic Szoboszlai at right back. You know, they do change, move him into midfield, and they bring on Connor Bradley later, who gets booked. Milos Kerkez, the new left back signing, starts, gets booked for one of the most horrendous dives you will ever see. It's not like, you know, how when some players in the box dive, they try and look for a leg and go over, or buy a penalty. Like Jamie Vardy was, you know, in 10 years ago, Vardy was pro at that in the Premier League. But he was nowhere near anyone, and he dived, and then he looked to the ref to try and claim a penalty, but he was like, no, horrendous dive, here's your booking. And of course, the replay dictates that. Look, Van Dijk and Konate are amazing. I do think Konate's had a difficult start to the season. I think Van Dijk fluctuates in terms of his elite form. But the midfield's been a weakness for them. And a huge, and like Salah, the thing is with Salah, yeah, he can ghost all game, but then score the winner, whether it's a penalty here, or indeed just score a great goal. I want to talk about some of these performers for Liverpool, because I don't think they're that good. Or I think they're great, but I don't think they've been playing well. And I do actually think a lot of Liverpool fans would tell you that as well. Of course, I'm not a Liverpool fan. But I'm looking at this from the outside in, and of course you'd say this is the sort of the mark of champions. They don't play well, they just find a way. But it's very much narrative gods at this point. Look, Hugo Ekitike didn't have much in this game, but he's a young player, and it would be, in terms of new signings, I wouldn't dig him out. Kerkez and Vitz, on the other hand, and lest we forget, Vitz until days ago was the Premier League record signing. Was it like 130 million euros or whatever that is. You know, he was more, he's like 117 million pounds or something like that. The Premier League record signing, of course, they've since signed Alexander Isak, who then broke the record again. So Liverpool broke the transfer record twice in succession in the same transfer window. But it was Florian Wirtz. And he got, so I'm looking on SofaScore, yeah, he got a 5.9 rating, Vitz. I mean, Kerkez, we've seen him in the Premier League, he goes up and down, he might be feeling the weight of the Liverpool shirt a little bit, but he got hooked on like 34 minutes or something. Kerkez, this is, in the limited time he was on the pitch, he lost possession 6 times. For a defensive player, that's poor. He won no aerial duels, he won no ground duels, he completed no long balls, he tried 4 crosses, only completed 1. Horrendous dive, got booked for diving, and then put in a foul shortly after, and it was like, this kid's going to get himself sent off. Yeah, and in the 38th minute, Robertson comes on for Kerkez. And actually before that, minutes before you see it's going to happen, Robertson's already getting ready. So just after half an hour, Kerkez has dropped this stinker and he's hooked. McAllister, I think he was dealing with an injury. Of course, he's an excellent player. He gets replaced as well. Szoboszlai goes into midfield, and then you bring on Connor Bradley, and then later Frimpong comes on, who's of course a very attacking fullback. But Florian Wirtz got a dark red 5.9 rating on SofaScore, which is the stats app that I like to utilise. I'm just going to quickly see what he's got on FOTMob as well, because FOTMob is another one that, you know, will use similar things. He's got a lot higher rating of FOTMob, which I have no idea why. But I'm looking at, let's look at him on here, SofaScore, because this is what I usually use. He obviously comes off in the 87th minute for Rio and Gamora. So he played basically 90 minutes. He'd made key passes, maybe that's why FOTMob has given him higher. He got an expected goals of 0.15, 0.24 in terms of expected assists. So combined expected goals and assists, it's less than 0.4 against Burnley, which for your creative fulcrum, regardless against defensive stuff, is very, very poor. He lost possession 21 times. 21 times, you can see. And that is to Burnley. 21 times, which is pretty generational. Tried 6 crosses, only completed 2. The thing is, he's a dribbler. You buy him for dribbles. He tried 2, didn't complete either of them. And yes, he's playing against a low block, but he just looked really, really like he can't deal with the physicality of the Premier League. It is a huge talking point because he costs so much money. Now, Florian Wirtz is an amazing footballer. He's an amazing technician. He and Musiala are like the young star boys of the German national team in terms of this footballing ability. But he's come from the Bundesliga, right? So you think of Bundesliga, oh, they're transitional players in terms of forwards. So, you know, Nkunku and Werner might struggle because they're not running into space all the time. But maybe someone like Kai Havertz can play between the lines a little bit more. And you think kind of the same with Florian Wirtz because he's not needing to run to space. He's a technician, he plays between the lines. But he just looks like he's getting bullied off the ball all the time. So the eye test, he just looks like, and I was chatting to my mate about who's been successful from the Bundesliga, and I mentioned how Kevin De Bruyne, who's a similar profile, he's an attacking midfielder, creative attacking midfielder. Of course, he was at Chelsea, and then but he goes and demonstrates his ability a little bit more in Germany. I think it was Wolfsburg, and of course Man City buy him. He's amazing, yeah. So, and he's that similar profile. But the difference with De Bruyne and Vitz is De Bruyne is actually quite robust. He's actually got he's actually quite chunky, and not in a fat way, just like in a, isn't like a, he does hold the ball up well, when Wirtz looks very, very slight. Now, am I saying he's a fraud, he's a flop, he's not gonna work? No. But what I'm saying is, so far, he looks worryingly like he's struggling to adapt, to the point where maybe Liverpool had Arne Slot been playing this season like he did to play last season. So without a number 10, without this small, diminutive, creative Florian Wirtz in behind the striker, say he'd played Szoboszlai in that role and it's more of a conventional midfield three rather than a floaty number 10, then maybe these games where we're going, they're getting away with it here, these last minute penalties, you know, Ungamora goals, Szoboszlai super shots that are bailing them out, that they're not needing these moments because they are Liverpool of last season looking much more robust in midfield, because they look like you can be played through. You know, will they sort themselves out and then they'll look back at this time like, yeah, we rode out the turbulence and then we sorted ourselves out, you know, and all is well. Because, I mean, it's very, very hard as an opposition fan to not just think they're really, really jammy. Do you know what I mean? Like, they haven't cheated at all. They've won fair and square every single time. That was a stonewall penalty against Hannibal, Burnley. That was a world-class free kick by Szoboszlai. That was a great finish by Rio Ungamora, the teenager. Of course, he had a lot of time, but he still had to put it away. They are doing nothing wrong. They are not benefiting from, you know, bad calls. They are just doing it, just getting on with it. But I do watch it and I find it fascinating, and of course, as a rival fan, infuriating that they just look so beatable, but no one's just going out and beating them, you know? So it's good for the league though, because we'll see, like, it's good when teams aren't just unbeatable Terminator teams. Like maybe, you know, there was a couple of seasons of Klopp. So I say last season with Liverpool, but I even think they just took their foot off. They didn't need to be that good. You know, it's nice to see, you know, the Manchester derby is about to kick off. I'll watch that and probably react to that as well. But, you know, that City aren't as good as they used to be. You want flawed teams. It's what makes a better spectacle. But they're super jammy, Liverpool. They got away with it again. Let me know what you think. Please do leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. If you want to help me, you can share the video and also drop those hype points. You can hype the video. I think it helps me out. All right, peace.